I am middle-aged and live in a city in England. I now am ready to talk publicly about something very strange that happened to me a couple of years ago that I still have not made sense of. I am not sure I ever will. I don't want this to be an overly long post, so I'm trying to keep things short, but do feel free to ask me any questions, and if I can, I will elaborate. By way of a brief introduction to me, at the time of the event, I would not describe myself as being a believer in anything much, particularly agnostic in terms of religion and the paranormal. I tended to be very cynical about people's alleged experiences of any sort, although I am open to the idea there is something. I also was no skywatcher or ufologist. I am inclined to believe most genuine sightings are military rather than aliens. I don't think I believe in ETS or UFOs, although TBH, I don't know and admit as such. I can only say, maybe. In one sense, it doesn't really matter who or what I am or what I believed at the time, as something very odd happened to me, and it is that actual event, not me, that truly matters. The most important thing for people to be aware of about me is that I am a normal person. I am neutral in that I have no connections to the military, government, or to paranormal UFO groups or people making money from such. I was not under the influence at the time of the event or after. I don't drink or do drugs. I don't have mental health issues. I was not asleep and half dreaming at the time, etc. While I do not feel the need to prove the truth of what happened to me to others, frankly, I don't care if you believe me or not. I would be happy to take a lie detector test and or truth serum or whatever under lab conditions for reputable researchers. Same as with handing over the photos and video. I am also keen to explore what else may come out that I have mentally blocked. So on to the event. This happened to me in the evening, not the middle of the night. I was wide awake and on my laptop when I first saw something outside my window out the corner of my eye. I was upstairs and sitting in front of a large window, tall as well as wide. Though it was just about getting dark, my curtains were not closed. So something caught my eye while I was on the laptop, and I looked out the window and I saw a kind of bell-shaped UFO that was very close by, literally right across the street. It was not just vague lights in the distance, this was close and it was hovering and moving very slowly. It was dusk and there was also a lot of ambient light from street lights and other houses, so I could clearly see the object in the air. Note, I did not see moving lights, I saw a metallic craft. I got up and walked to the window to get a closer look of it and immediately realized I was looking at something extraordinary. I could not then hear any sound coming from it. It was hovering just over the house and gardens across the road, very low down on the skyline, literally just skimming the rooftops of 1930s style houses. I don't recall it being lit up like in its windows or anything, though it did have some, but I could see it perfectly well despite that, as there was enough light. It was no bigger than the width of a normal house. It then moved very slowly in a diagonal kind of line towards my house. I didn't want to stop watching it but turned my back for a few seconds to go grab my phone to start shooting photos, videos. At that time, there was nobody out walking in the street and I did not see anyone else looking at it. But to be fair, I would not have noticed it had it not literally been right in front of me. There was no noise to draw attention to it. When I returned to the window with the phone, the craft was still silently crossing the street. Unfortunately, it took a few seconds to open my window, and by the time I had done that and was hanging out of it and had the phone up ready poised, I had missed it to shoot any footage of it. But I did have enough time to witness the craft go literally over my house very, very close. It just skimmed my rooftop and I was upstairs at the time, to give you an idea of its actual distance to me. This thing had been going much slower than even a car in a 30 miles per hour zone. It was not just seen and then gone in a flash. The whole thing lasted a good few seconds from start to finish, and it was very close. A couple of minutes later, a black triangle following almost exactly the same flight path as the first went over, at the same kind of speed, maybe a tiny bit faster than the first craft. I noted in great detail the detail underside, and this time got a much better look as there was no time lost trying to grab the phone, open the window this time. I also heard it sound, a quiet but distinct humming noise. There was no engine roar coming from it, no rush of wind or backdraft, as one would expect from any normal craft. It was very quiet, much quieter than a car in fact, and I did not see anything in the atmosphere be impacted by it, like trees blowing about more or whatever. I saw the detailed pattern beneath the craft and also its lights beneath it too. So there were lights beneath it. They were not beams of light, they were just there, I am not sure for what. I shot video of it passing right over, thinking how amazing footage it would be as it was so close and the atmosphere was so well lit. Over the next couple of hours, there were lots of small military planes around, at least that's what they looked like to me. Maybe they were linked to these two things, maybe they were stalking them, I have no idea, but there were lots of them about and I have never seen them there before. I don't know if the first thing was with the second either or what. There were also odd lights in the sky that went on for hours. A couple of hours later, what seemed like a small military plane literally appeared out of thin air in a bright flash of blazing white light in the same spot the bell had first been seen by me. Again, I don't know if that was with the first lot of craft or what. That blew my mind. So I was looking out the window and there was nothing. Then there was this blazing white light literally across the road and a small plane appears out of that blazing light and it was hovering a few seconds. Like it had morphed there. Very Star Trek. It hovered and then went across my house too. It looked just like a normal military plane to me but did not sound like one, so all in all, I had some amazing sightings of stuff that evening. But remarkable as that was not the main odd thing. The main thing was what I noticed the following day. So I had broken my fingernail like just the day before and my nail had caught on something, so it had broken beneath the fingernail line and there was an uneven snag as it was beneath the skin line that you could not cut down or file it yet and it was sore. The next day I noticed that not only was my nail no longer broken and uneven but it was much longer and looked normal and even. Overnight. I am a middle-aged woman. My nails do not grow that quickly. Not even a child's would. I had not touched it to file it down either since. It would take a good couple of weeks for it to grow like that again, plus I would have had to cut it or file it in the meantime so it would be even again, which I knew I had not done. The second thing was even more noticeable. I had had my hair professionally cut and colored a couple of days before for an event. I am certain when. It had been done well and nicely, no complaints. But long roots were now suddenly showing. Overnight. There was a significant amount of grey roots now showing on my whole head. A good inch or so. It would normally take at least 4 weeks for my hair to look like that after being colored. Often longer. All this indicated my body had been somewhere between 2 to 5 weeks since the previous evening that I had no conscious recollection of. I had no missing time I was aware of. I recall watching these craft, but my body indicated I had missing time and or something had caused it to rapidly age. But if the latter, just rapid aging, that does not explain why my nail would not just be longer and jagged reflecting the past breakage. Instead it was normal rounded, so it had been cut or filed by someone or something else. Additionally, my phone video footage was tampered with and there were time anomalies on it. My device shows still shots being taken at the same time video is being taken, which is impossible. The best footage I can recall taking is all inexplicably gone, but there was some weird shit left in its place that I have no memory of shooting. I could not have shot, in fact. The footage also shows something else humanoid in appearance was there in my house. I have no recollection of. I live alone. That being is shown shooting, not me. Nobody else has keys and the house is also alarmed up. So WTF happened? Where was I for those 2 to 5 weeks, or longer? This is a rhetorical question, as I don't expect anyone here to have the real answer for. Afterwards, I was followed for a few weeks and there was more weird stuff that I won't go into here. As for all the various craft I saw that night, although I am mind blown about their various capabilities, I tend to think it was all probably something top secret and of this world. That doesn't really mess with my head, although it did blow my mind that things can warp like that out of nothing, Star Trek style. But whatever they all were, they, or something linked to them, also had the power to mess with my timeline and my mind, changing or wiping my memory of it, and to also do some inexplicable weird shit after. I have no answer as to who or what is on my video either. I can understand the military being able to delete video and photos from a distance but leaving weird shit on it. Maybe that is their mind games. They deleted what I recalled taking and added stuff I did not take. I can't process those missing weeks, which in reality happened in a few seconds or maybe few hours my time. Very, very strange.